All right, welcome back to Modern Mondays. We're Portland Paper. Guardian Games is hosting us, and we're headed into round number three. And we thought Sam earned the feature match
He
area.
earned a seat at the table,
Yeah,
you know?
won match one. Hung out, did an interview. Was gracious enough to pop in for the end of match number two, and had some plan tokens get there. So yeah, we're gonna hold on to Sam here at the feature match table.
Yeah, we really want to see it. Well, I really want to see a Tameo.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to see put into play in Modern. Uh,
Now, if Sam loses, we're gonna have to go grab somebody else. But I think see if this pulls out a 4-0 here on Monday.
yes. Against a very different type of deck, aka not Amulet Titan. Playing against Boros Burn.
Yes, plant tokens do not seem like the strongest thing you can be doing against a burn deck.
Yes. I think that something that is very good against a burn deck is those Tarmogoyfs we saw Sam play early. If Burn has a creature heavy draw, that Tarmogoyf can really, I think, clog up the board early and put you in some sticky situations. Sam also playing a lot of spells that cost more than 3, making Eidolon maybe a little less relevant in this matchup.
I'm curious if the burn deck has picked up any of the new cards that we've been seeing. I've at least been seeing in
Yeah, if
Survival
we're going to
list.
have a spectacle.
Yep. Not every list has adopted those, but I've seen the red blackburn list basically being, if you count Spectacle as 1 mana, has a main deck of all 1 mana cards, which I think is incredibly strong, especially when you're a Swift Spear deck and just speeds up your clock a little bit as burn.
Yeah. Uh, Amazing F&M promo this month is Light Up the Stage, which we're showing right now.
Have you won an F&M and got
I haven't, but at Guardian we give away 2 random promos at the end of round 2.
You got the random promo?
I didn't. The guy next to
Ah.
me did. And I was like, I'm very jealous of that promo. Congratulations.
The card is very sweet. I think it's gonna stick in Modern and Legacy.
Yes, yeah. I will say I really like the Theater of Horrors Rakdos flavor across all of the cards. Look at that flavor text. Places everyone from Judith. That's great. That's that's clever. I really hope that we have a spectacle animation, like maybe a star wave comes across every time someone casts a spectacle card. I'm looking at my producer like, can we make that happen in the next 20
Are
seconds?
are we playing Arena now? Are we gonna see some
Ooh,
dragons
there we
just
go,
start jumping
yeah.
out? In fact, no, we are not playing Arena. In fact, we just do Paper Magic because our name is Portland Paper. But it'd be sick if we had dragons. I'd sign up for that. It's not quite in the budget, but if you want to follow us, subscribe, maybe we can find room in our budget for that.
And all of the matches go up on the YouTube channel as
Correct.
well, right? So all of these are video on demand. You can rewatch any match, and they're broken out by the matchup and the decks that were played. So you can find a deck that you're interested in seeing.
And players are
Why does he have
keeping?
the will?
Maybe keeping?
Why did he get the Mark Tendon card? Is that to signify who
Yep.
went first?
Players are keeping. I'm unsure. Maybe I think Sam might also have one hanging
They
out
all
up
have
there
one?
too.
Did I miss this? Am I supposed to have one of these?
There's
when I
a
play here?
secret club that we might not
I'm
be
gonna
in.
go buy one after this.
Oh, got a new follower in chat. Hello to you as well. We're hanging out with super friends here. Hanging out with super friends and some sweet old metal cards.
Sam has the opener he wants, I assume, which
does-
is a Noble
yeah.
Hierarch, right?
It seems like Bradley was contemplating, do I play a Swiss Spear or do I bolt the bird, and decided to be aggressive. You need to get some damage in if you're burned and going to win the game, and plays a Swiss Spear.
Also, again, Sam having a spicy list that he's playing, maybe his opponent doesn't realize what he's up against. I think like if you're playing against maybe spirits, it's sometimes correct to not bolt the bird, and maybe let them overcommit to a spell queller.
Yeah, the danger of not bolting the birds and spirits is the turn 2 Geist.
Yes.
But a lot of times they're just playing a Lord on turn 2 or Drag Skull Captain, which that's a much juicier bolt target than a Noble Hierarch. And just have the swing with the Noble, passing of the turn.
Man, if I'm Bradley and I have Eidolon, I'm so tempted to play it here, I think.
That, a Searing effect seems pretty sweet.
Yes, yeah, Searing Effect would be very, very good. I've seen burn players do this a lot, and it's my favorite thing when you fetch and only pick up half your deck because you're like, I'm gonna find the land I need in my 2-color deck. Like, who are we kidding? Well, now we have 2 bird targets. Do you think there's a fork bolt?
Uh, we're not playing Legacy
Okay,
here.
all right, fine. All right, it's Searing Blades. You were right. It was a Searing Effect.
All right, down goes the Noble. Sam takes 3. Swing in for 2.
Sam will be setting himself up for 4 mana, though, on turn 3, which is exactly what Tameo costs.
Does Sam have any main deck life gain?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
At least not when we talked in the interview earlier. Yeah, his Gideon emblem will prevent him from losing, which sometimes is more important than gaining life. I think I saw maybe a Gideon in Sam's hand as well.
It's interesting. It seems like a deck like this might almost be incentivized to play something like a Courser of Krupix. Because you don't have a lot of card advantage in the deck, really at all.
Yes,
and a Courser
yeah.
could be a way of making sure you hit your land drops for these Planeswalkers, gaining some incidental life, and pseudo drawing cards.
Yeah, even if Gideon pluses, turning off that Swift Spear seems very relevant. I feel like Swift Spear is oftentimes scarier than that a turn 1 Goblin Guide. I'm much more worried about Swift Spear on turn 1 than I am Goblin Guide.
If my opponent on turn 2 is tapped out and they're playing burn and they have a Goblin Guide and a Swift Spear and I have a Lightning Bolt, almost all the time I bolt the Swift Spear.
Yeah.
Over the course of a couple turns, it is more damage and you get less of an advantage.
Look at this. This card has been an all-star for Sam in every game that we've watched.
But you can just burn Sam now, right?
Oh, he has
no,
hexproof.
Yeah. That was,
He has to answer. So he's going to spend 2 cards answering this Shalai.
that was a it was just a little bit of sarcasm.
Oh, what? It's so good. It's so good. I think you still get to get in damage with Swift Spear, though. Maybe I'm willing to swing with Swift Spear before I do this, in hopes that maybe he takes the bait, blocks,
Yeah, but
save a lightning bolt.
I guess so. It's 3 damage either way. All right, Sam's at 8, and Bradley is out of cards. Do we have another one?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
All right, Gideon, but we're gonna make a token.
Yeah, seems very good.
A stack of tokens. It's whenever you sit down next to a player that has a stack of tokens, there is definitely something that goes through my mind,
Yeah.
like what am I playing against?
Yeah, I think what Sam is trying to set himself up for is to create a Gideon emblem next turn and hopefully not die to a zillion pieces of burn on Bradley's
Oh
turn.
no, Bradley had a hand. It was just hiding. Bradley
he
has
has
a huge
zillion
hand.
cards, yeah.
I imagine in that hand there is more than 8 damage, but there might not be enough mana to play it all
I think
out.
I see maybe double Rift Bolts, which is a little
Okay.
unfortunate. And doesn't look like a third land, otherwise I would assume that third hand would come down pretty quick. Do you think if you're Sam, which creature are you going to block with? Let's assume that he's going to block because he's at 8 life.
I think I block it, depending on what the contents of the hand are. If I have a 3-drop in my hand, I'd block with the knight.
Hmm.
Because then you might draw another 3-drop, so you could play.
Yeah.
If there's like a land and a 3-drop.
You have to swing a Gideon, right? You have to hope that
Uh,
and like bluff the lightning bolt here, or the other 3 damage spell that's going to deal damage to Gideon.
So I think I just why not swing at Sam?
Oh, I guess.
We got a 2-3.
Yeah. And if you have the lightning bolt, then Sam is
Yeah,
dead.
make your opponents make the choices, I would say.
Yeah. He does swing at Gideon though. 3 mana Gideon.
Well, it looks like there's a path. Is that a path to exile hanging out?
Yeah.
Let's pick up.
Which seems pretty good. Sam's still at 2 life though. Sam checking Bradley's hand, which has 3 cards in it, but we saw Bradley struggle last turn without a third land, and
I see an Oath of Nissa also in Sam's hand, so
mm,
perhaps an Oath hoping you hit another Shalai might be a
or
play.
Oath hit 3 mana Gideon,
Hmm.
right? That seems like a good line as well.
Oath seems to have a lot of upside.
Yeah, and I think Sam finding that line here now.
A knight is made.
Yeah, even Path to Exile isn't fantastic.
Oh, well, there's 4
Don't be
mana.
TME on the turn where it doesn't matter. Oh, Nissa Stewardess of Elements, something like that.
Get a scry for 2. X blue green comes into play with X loyalty counters. You can plus it to scry for 2 and add 2 counters. Hmm. I
Scries
think
to
I
the
might have
bottom.
liked leading with Oath here. You would get to see more
Yeah,
cards.
we're putting a lot of stake in the 3 mana Gideon, but also Sam does the deck better than anyone. Um, yeah, all burn spells.
Okay. Well, shall I even eat up 2 burn spells? And
Yeah,
because
Searing
of having
Blaze.
that Searing Blaze and the Monastery Swift Spear to get in those extra points.
I'm interested to see what Sam brings in to slow the board down even more, to let himself stabilize to that mid to late game. I think I see a negate there.
The
That
gate seems
seems
alright. I wonder
seems
if
like a
there's
good
a card like
choice.
Blessed Alliance in the sideboard. That seems like a
I
flexible,
love
very
Blessed
flexible
Alliance.
card that is good in a lot of matchups against Death Shadow, against Burn. That seems like there's another Shalai hanging out in the sideboard as well.
Oh, welcome everybody from the Modern Magic subreddit. We're glad that you're here with us, hanging out, watching some modern.
Yeah, now that Wizards of the Coast is maybe dropping GP coverage, there's not a lot of opportunities to watch paper modern.
All right. Went for the trigger button there.
Not that I'm salty about that or anything. Although I
Um,
can't necessarily say that Wizards paper coverage was necessarily the greatest. They're not watching us.
That's true.
We can talk shit.
We can say that, sure. You can say that. Here at Guardian, if you make a night token and lose game 1 with a night token in play, it stays in play until game 2. This is a house rule.
If your opponent doesn't catch it. So yeah, Chad asked if they aren't covering GPs anymore. It is ambiguous if they're going to do any video coverage of GPs anymore. A lot of people have not had their contracts renewed. There's been mum from WOTC about any kind of coverage. They pulled a bunch of text coverage for tournaments that they don't do video coverage for. Channel Fireball stepped up and said they're going to do some text coverage, but seems that like they're having to spend a lot of money changing how they pay out different events, arena, etc., and might be losing a little bit of coverage. Unsure. Who knows?
Yeah, I think we should expect to. I am expecting to hear an announcement from their side probably in the next 2 weeks to say this is what it will look like going forward. I think they're very they're very aware of how unhappy a lot of the Magic community is without not having enough information to know when coverage is going to happen. We actually have a modern GP coming up this weekend, I think, in Toronto.
Oh, well, maybe I'll get to read about it the following day.
You will get to read about it the following day. I think that they maybe already said that there is no additional video coverage on that. But if you had to pick your top 8 for GP Toronto, what would be your top 8 decks?
Like what I personally would like to see in the top 8, or
No, what you are expecting.
Okay, I think there's a lot of people playing Amulet right now that haven't typically played the deck in the past. It's getting to be a larger metagame percentage. I imagine just because of the amount of people playing it and how inherently powerful it is, that we'll see some Amulet in the top 8. I feel like we're going to see some of the burn variants that lower the mana curve, playing the new Spectacle cards up there. Of course, Phoenix, that's a hard deck to hate out. Graveyard Hate doesn't necessarily work against it. It's just strong, plays a lot of bolts. It's good against creature decks. I imagine there's going to be some kind of control, probably Jeskai. Everyone says it's bad, but then it always top 8s events.
You see me shaking my head. I'm shaking my head at you while you say these things.
And yeah, I could see something like a Jund deck or a Blood Moon deck. Jund with Blood Moon or another Blood Moon deck sneaking in there too.
I think that there will be 3 copies of Death Shadow in the top 8.
Okay.
I think that deck right now is so good and gets better with burn. I think that the burn matchup from the Death Shadow side is very hard to navigate, but if you're good at playing Death Shadow, you are favored in that matchup.
Okay, I would maybe a little bit of point of contention here. I think traditionally I would agree with that because burn has relied a lot on 2 mana damage spells. But when you lower your curve, so literally every single spell in your deck cost 1, and you're not playing cards like Eidolon and the Great Revel anymore, I feel that Death Shadow is on the losing end of that matchup side.
That's a very good point. I had not thought about it from that side, that reducing the curve of burn actually makes it more aggressive and allows you to maybe burn them out faster.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, Death Shadow, our producer chimed in, and yeah, Death Shadow sometimes turns on Spectacle for the burn player.
Oh, yeah, that seems bad.
Oh, chat's asking if they want more attention going to Arena. I don't think Wizards wants to hurt paper, but I feel like they put a lot of money into Arena and they have limited budgets, and so they're really trying to boost that currently, and trying not to offend paper players as much as possible, and that's a balancing act that is almost impossible to do.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just a little bit of a reality that if we want to have $1 million tournaments and $10 million prize pools every year, that money has to, it's not all being generated. It has to come out of somewhere.
I'm kind of curious if Channel Fireball is going to step up, because usually Wizards of the Coast does coverage for GPs, but the GPs are contracted out to Channel Fireball, and they run the event. And I wonder if Channel Fireball might step up and start hosting their own coverage teams. I will say that SCG does amazing coverage. Love the commentators. Hilarious, entertaining, great production. So we have players shuffled up and both deciding that they don't like their opening 7, and we're going to 6.
I feel like the lower these players mulligan, the more I favor burn. I think they have more of a, they have a lower curve, so they probably can afford to mulligan a little bit more.
Okay.
Than Sam's deck, which is gonna, if he draws a hand with a 5-mana Gideon, you're effectively down a card, right?
Yeah, I usually think that burn mulligans poorly because you're playing strictly a numbers game, but I do agree with you in this case where Sam's trying to cast 3, 4, 5 mana spells, that burn having such a lower mana curve will mulligan better in this matchup.
Yeah. Sam fighting to hold on to the title, though, so maybe just that will alone, maybe will carry him to victory.
I hope we didn't jinx Sam. But, gotta earn it.
I think you drew the 5-mana Gideon. Oh, my bad. Sorry, Sam. You just keep it if you have lands, yeah.
Have an Oath of Nissa.
Oh,
Fi-
that seems like a very strong play. Turn one.
find you some
Yeah,
things.
if you can't cast Ancient Strings, Oath of Nissa seems good.
So that's a card that I think I'd want to have like a small pile of hanging out that I forget about. That whenever they ban Ancient Stirrings, you realize you had a
Oh yeah.
10-cent card that is now worth like $6.
Yep. Oh, and is that 3 mana Gideon? The foil, I can't even tell. I don't.
I'm blinded.
All I see is reflection. I believe that was 3 mana Gideon, which is excellent for what Sam wants to do here. So 2 Gideons in hand maybe gets to protect that emblem a little bit more.
You're essentially trading 3 mana for a lightning bolt.
Yes. Yeah. Unless you plus. You plus on a Goblin Guide, and then
Okay, okay.
right. That seems pretty good. Also, you plus on an Eidolon, and then you can cast a bunch of 1-drop spells or
Okay,
whatever.
Bradley doesn't have the turn one creature, which
Mm.
is, especially when you mulligan, a lot of times what you want with burn. So you have a recurring source of damage that helps you cross that threshold of 20 life.
Yeah, Sam doing a great job of conserving life total here with an island, and I doubt that Bradley brought an enchantment hate. I wouldn't if I was Bradley. So that Oath of Nissa being online to cast any Planeswalker is really saving Sam some life here.
I'm curious if this Tarmogoyf is going to end up eating the Riftbolt.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I think if it does, Sam's probably happy about that. Anything that doesn't go to the face, right, is a good sign.
I'd be tempted to kill a Tarmogoyf, though.
I would definitely be tempted to kill the Tarmogoyf.
Once that starts growing, it's going to stonewall every creature that Bradley is able to play, but then
Everything
just
you draw.
attack in. And Bradley assesses the situation similar to us and decides to target the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, as long as you agree with us, it's an excellent choice. So well done, Bradley.
Unless we're wrong, and then we lose.
I think that's only happened once on coverage.
I don't think it's ever happened.
I thought Plow Under cost 4, but it cost 5, and it haunts my dreams.
And were you also calling that it wasn't modern legal too?
I did also think that it wasn't
Yeah.
modern legal. To be fair, it was printed in Urza's Destiny, so.
Looks like a breeding pool picked up for Sam, and there was no play in Bradley's main phase.
The Urza's Destiny Plow Under.
Modern legal.
Modern legal. Oh, there we go. 8th edition with a much more violent art.
Another oath, so if we pick up a additional Tarmogoyf, it's going to be bigger.
And Oath is legendary. So we have to get rid of the other one. That's the thing. His Goyf would have been huge. I take another Gideon.
I do think Oath is such a great card that is very underplayed right now. Maybe the format's a little bit too fast, but makes plans.
Interesting. Nissa is interesting. I don't know if that's a card I want in this matchup.
Does a decent job of jump blocking.
Yeah, but I feel like spending 3 mana to make a chump blocker. I guess it helps crew the heart. It crews the heart very, very well.
Maybe there wasn't enough cards to take out.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Lightning Helix, pick up for Bradley.
I think Sam has a 4th land, but we're still a little bit a ways away from that 5 mana Gideon.
Does seem kind of like an uphill battle for Sam here.
Yeah. So interesting. I think Bradley, knowing that he has a 3 mana Gideon, is happy to pass turn and wait till the end step, and maybe in fear of having to remove that Gideon.
So if you have the 5 mana Gideon, I could see just playing the 3 mana Gideon, making the emblem. Then next turn you're basically healing salving yourself.
Yeah, I think the advantage of playing the 5 mana Gideon first is you play around every haste creature.
Okay.
Because you just get to 0 it and force them to, or plus it, or whatever its ability is, to plus it to force them to attack that Gideon.
It's interesting trying to analyze the correct plays to make in a deck where it's not really a known
Yeah,
unknown
yeah.
quantity.
Here's Nissa. Who knew that was going to come down this turn?
We can speculate all we want about
A
like
card that I said should be cut.
what the line should be, but
Yeah.
we know what cards we're talking about. Helix going to Sam. Bradley ignoring the Nissa.
Yeah. All right, smart play, Bradley. Again, stuck though on those 2 lands. I think one of the things that felt a little clunky with the spectacle cards is being stuck on 2 lands. If you're playing more of a classic Boros burn with more 2-drops, not being able to cast a 2-drop and spectacle feels rough.
But when you can lightning bolt your opponent, cast a spectacle card, exile the top 2, and play a land that you exiled.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
mean,
sweet.
that line seems good. Seems fine.
Plant token.
Ooh, look at that chump blocker. Like
Save
you said.
2 life.
Like you
Save 2
said.
life.
All right, so here comes this. All right. It's oh man, does he have 4-mana Gideon too? We Gideon in for days. He'll be Gideon in there.
Days isn't modern legal.
We both have bad jokes.
Emblem on the Gideon. Oh.
Maybe that was a multiple Gideon draw, so he wants to eat that burn spell. So I really like the line of Nissa now that we're playing a little more here. Wow, that Searing Blaze is really good.
Floating a white off the bird. It's gonna be a swing for 3. I'm
Sam
curious
still
if
has a. Oh, he floated the white.
I was curious if
bluffing.
Sam was gonna path their own creature.
Ooh, I see a Scavenging Ooze draw, which is only okay. It's 2 creatures in the yard. It puts him to 7, which is a pretty good spot to be.
I think he's plus right here.
And I think, do we only have 1 card in Bradley's hand?
Yes.
That seems very good.
Do you plus?
No, I just make a knight.
You make a
just
knight?
make a dude and just say go for days. Yeah. Sam's still digging for that 5th land though. Now that that bird is gone.
Do you know what card's been really good? Yep. Oh,
He.
get the negatives.
Bradley realizing that there's now Gideon in play and that emblem says any Gideon Planeswalker.
Yeah.
And that the plant will block forever.
Yeah. Jedi Vash is also picking up on our complete
Yeah, you're right,
misjudgment
Jedi.
of how sweet Nissa is in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, so now all right, so there's 5-mana Gideon. We have multiple Gideons in play. I don't know if, like, Bradley has no cards in hand. Like, what is he hoping to draw to get himself out of this?
Double Path to Exile and hope your opponent animates both Gideons?
Yeah, that's it. That's just a scoop. There's no way to get rid of that 8-mana, that 8 loyalty Gideon. Yeah, that was a lot of Super Friends. That's what Bant Super Friends is designed to do. Play green and white Super Friends, and not a single blue card.
So flavor-wise, are all the Gideons in like alternate planes, and they're the same entity separated by planes? Are they kind of just like brothers that hang out together?
They're all the same Gideon.
But then how can you play? Like, how can they exist on your playmat at the same time?
So I actually, when I used to work at a board game store, the way that we would pitch moms when they were trying to buy Magic for their kids after their soccer games.
Okay.
There's a soccer field like
Give me
nearby.
give me the pitch. Give me the
Was
pitch.
in this game, you play with your friends. You both play as wizards, and you have a deck, which is your entire spell book. And as you turn the pages of that spell book and draw cards, you can activate and cast those spells. And some of them summon creatures. Some of them are more like fireballs that you will shoot at your opponent. Or you could play super powerful heroes across all of Magic's timeline. So I think what's happening is that we're experiencing Gideons from multiple timelines.
So we're folding time. Can we do the
Yeah.
thing where in all those science movies they take the piece of paper
Yes, and they like layer it,
yeah.
like accordion it. Yes, that is what I think is happening. But the emblem one is really the only one that mattered there. And that was what we needed to win the game. But not an easy game to win from Sam's side of the table.
To be honest, I didn't think it was gonna happen.
I think that we are leaning very hard on Shalai and 3-mana Gideon. Jedi, I was not keeping track of how much damage the plant tokens blocked, but they were definitely the creatures doing the most work from Sam's side of the table.
I love how we've had two distinct decks on feature this evening that have had plant tokens.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like
Oh, who's the artist that makes? He's at every single GP and he makes the tokens that everyone buys.
Arcade Post.
Yeah, Arcade Post. Next GP, I'm betting it's gonna be run on plant tokens.
Buy him out now. He does have an excellent Bulbasaur plant token. He also has a great. It's like I think it's like a Venus Flytrap token as
Okay.
well. That's a plant token. I really hope that we see a Tameo this game.
I don't. What is
The
that in
field
the deck
researcher.
still?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it turns off. Like it taps 2 things down. I think it's. Oh, it might be non-land permanents actually. Can we bring it up?
Okay.
Tameo Field Researcher.
We're calling the Oracle here. And
Non-land permanents, so maybe not as good.
that would be pretty busted if you kind of play a 4-mana Planeswalker that double stones rains your opponent.
It just keeps him tapped for 2 turns. It's like I guess it's actually like way better than Frost Titan. All right, that seems pretty good. All right, I guess I would play Nissa over Tameo.
Value of the plant tokens. I was curious if Bradley perhaps boarded out some creatures for being on the draw, and then maybe you switch it up and board in creatures when you're on the play. I would do that a lot when I was playing Burn, especially if I was against a more controlling deck or against a deck like Jund, where if I'm on the draw and they're going to have a Tarmogoyf on turn 2, your Goblin Guide looks pretty paltry, but if you're on the play, it's important to be the aggressor there.
Sure. So Sam's hand has Noble Hierarch, Birds of Paradise, Tarmogoyf, and at least 2 lands, one of which is a forest.
No. Not taking damage to cast your birds.
Not taking damage, and I think being able to lead Bird into Goyf into Noble Hierarch is a very, very...
We get a basic
line.
reveal off a Goblin Guide attack, too.
Was that the forest as well? Ooh.
It was.
Doesn't even have to fetch?
All right. Sam with 9 cards in hand now, but can play the land, and either is Bird or Noble.
It has to. Bird is the correct play, I believe. Yeah, I think you care about the exalted damage later, and potentially care about the exalted later in the game, and you're happy to let your bird get. If something has to get Searing Blazed, it might as well be the bird.
Perhaps there's a different. Sam might have some planeswalkers with different colored mana cost that. Oh, I don't know. I can't think of any mana that Noble that bird produces that noble doesn't. So
I
yeah, I
guess
think
bird flies and he plays some pump effects
okay.
in Nissa and in uh, Shalai. If you are Bradley, do you attack first or do you Searing Blaze first to get in extra damage?
Hmm. I feel that I would let my opponent block if they wanted to block.
Mm.
That's always a bad feeling. It feels really good when you're the person casting Searing Blaze, but to get your mana accelerants like bolted and then it bolts you at the same time.
Yeah. Sam's only response was, Goblin Guide, though, filtering cards like crazy for Sam, which is great. Oh, I drew another Noble? Never punished. I
Two
excitingly
drop?
play my Tarmogoyf. Yeah. Goyf's a 3/4. You know what 3/4s do?
Block
Block
two
two
twos,
twos.
and then die to a Searing Blaze.
I think I'm willing to make that trade with another Goyf and a Noble in hand. I'm gonna clog up that board.
There's a Shalai hanging out there, right?
I think so, yeah.
This is a very interesting subgame. I feel that Magic is full of subgames, and that's a lot of times that's how you win is recognizing what the subgame is here.
Mm,
And for Sam, it's maybe make your opponent spend resources until they don't have enough left to like kill your Shalai, or to like
yeah.
burn them on your Gideon and then to play a bigger Gideon.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily the don't die, but try to manipulate how your opponent uses their spells.
Yes. So this is interesting.
Ooh.
Oh, spectacle, star wipe.
Where's the graphic? Where's the graphic?
Yeah, putting Sam to 4.
Well, that's gonna be a while.
So Sam can generate 2 blockers next turn, which if Bradley doesn't have a burn spell, is something. And then produce Shalai on the 4th turn.
So what? How many spells have been cast on Bradley's side of the table for
2.
two?
So
So you have
Swift
a
Spear is a 3/4. You block the 3/4.
oh,
It
yeah,
keeps you out of Boros Charm range.
yeah.
And I think that Sam will either have to shock next turn, which is really unfortunate, or has to fetch to get another land to play both a bird and a noble. I mean, I think you have to put yourself in Boros Charm range and just hope that.
Yeah, I wonder if there is another basic forest in the
Oh,
back here.
Goyf did grow. That Swift Spear should be dead. Goyf's a 4/5.
Do you wanna go pause them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's gonna
Hold on.
matter.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Good thing we have our spotter Vinny to take care of this. That makes this.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, you can let them know they can rewind. Just making sure everything is sorted here.
Right, right, right.
Okay, looks like we rewound to the beginning of Sam's turn where he's drawn a card and then can make decisions based on an accurate game state.
Or, I mean, have to is a strong word, but, like, yeah. Um, yeah, pass.
All right, tap land, pass. Got the wall of Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah, I think Sam being very afraid of a second haste creature plus a bolt.
Right, right.
Hoping to live to be able to cast that Shalai in hand, but it's gonna get iffy if you have to fetch
Yeah, I mean he puts himself in a situation where like he is dead to a lightning bolt
or a
to
Boros
try
Charm
and
if you
cast
fetch.
Shalai.
Yeah. Oh.
So he has two dorks in hand, so maybe the safer play is just to play two dorks and
Mhm.
then hope that um, there's nothing after that.
R.
Or a
Do
basic?
we get a basic?
Oh my gosh.
Shalai?
Oh.
Ooh, Sam's still passing. I think I get aggressive with a Goif here.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, you do
I
have to
guess
win the
if
game.
he has Path to Exile, then maybe he gets in for exactly lethal. Oh no, he can't with Shalai.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Upkeep Shalai eats a path.
Mm.
Curious what Bradley's last card in hand is. It could maybe be another Searing effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Land creature instant sorcery.
So for anyone watching, even if you miscalculate how big your Goif is, that it's not a choice that you have how big your Goif is. So if it deals combat damage, that has to be accurately placed on the creature it was dealt damage with. And we are, if you're not at a Comp REL event, that's something that you can fix. And even at a Comp REL event, the fix would be very similar to what just happened here.
Yeah. So here we're seeing both the dorks come down.
Attack.
Okay,
And
now we're getting a
now we have an
little
exalted.
feisty.
Yep, we can afford. I think Sam also drew Path for the turn,
Okay.
so we can afford to, even if Bradley spends a lightning bolt on one of the creatures.
And you don't have the backup of Shalai eating up 2 spells before you die. Sam might not have very much time left at all.
True. Yeah, yeah. I don't think Sam is anywhere close to out of this game yet.
I think that might have been a Goblin Guide pickup on Bradley's side, which this is that point where I'm like, well, maybe like how you sideboard.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's
you
tough
swing
call.
away
Yeah.
and take away, at least try to take away the exalted creature. Like maybe that's worth trading one of your Goblin Guides for.
Mhm.
He also knows that Sam has Teferi in hand, which might be something that he's fearing and holding back a burn spell. Maybe 2 burn spells to try and get rid of Teferi.
Well, if you have 2 burn spells, you just get rid of Sam.
I don't know. Maybe he's in the tank. Maybe you get a little pigeonholed. Teferi's a scary card. But yes, you're right. If he has 2 burn spells, then we could just take it all away.
Looks like a Sacred Foundry and I think a Goblin Guide.
You have a minute left. Sorry.
Oh, nope, I was wrong. It was a
Ooh.
Riftbolt.
Go to 2. Swinging. Some blocking. Wow. I think has he drawn a goblin? Has he drawn a land?
He's
off
drawn a
Goblin Guide?
land off every Goblin Guide attack except for at the
Teferi.
Teferi.
And path of the other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
And that Swift Spear is definitely dead.
Yes,
Is this
come on.
Swift Spear? The Swift Spear is dead. Swift Spear is dead.
Do you have a card in hand?
Swift Spear is dead.
They're gonna. I imagine they'll figure that out just after shuffling library. 2 mana. Scavenging Ooze.
Scavenging Ooze. Very good. Sam hitting the table in excitement, shaking the camera, so viewers at home can experience that kind of excitement.
Right, right.
I have one monastery Swiss Spirit.
Oh, I'll exile it. Gain.
You gotta, yeah, we gotta be on top of these players here, keeping an accurate board state.
Oh, that's dead.
Thank you.
Exile it. Gain one more.
Okay, so we only have. I am a judge. I hang out and do the commentary, but I can't actually interact with the match. We're in a separate booth. This is an event at a local game store. There's judges, but they'll usually only hang out with someone if the judge is called. So some stuff does get through the cracks, we try to be on top of the coverage area and giving them a heads up when we notice a discrepancy in like the game state here.
Okay. I'll attack for 8.
I think there's also a question about Bradley's life total, but I think maybe we missed the Exalted trigger when we
Yeah,
went to attack last turn. I don't think Sam acknowledged it, which is an example of something that we wouldn't necessarily.
correct. That is
Rewind or go
a
back and
trigger
fix.
that you can miss.
Um,
Oh my god.
so close, so close.
No Boros charms.
Looking for an answer to those Tarmogoyfs, or
Oh.
just something to go face, right?
Oh my.
Well, maybe we get another round of Super Friends here.
Yeah, I think Sam will be playing round 4 in the feature match area.
Yeah, I was sitting on.
Oh, well, thanks for the comment there about the overlay. Yeah, that's all made. Our producer Ian does that. Yeah, all the overlays and everything is done in-house, and we produce content for Guardian Games on Monday, but we also do other content, and we'll if anyone in the area needs a coverage team, we're available to hire out for that too. And yeah, we're working on starting to put out more than just Modern Mondays. Have a little bit of pre-recorded stuff with Legacy that we're working on, and yeah, just keep checking. We've got a Twitter page, we have the Twitch and a YouTube channel that we post all the matches, edited down and then tagged with the decks that are in them a couple days after this event.
I think that we might monopolize the Bant Super Friends video searches on YouTube. And that's just my guess, with the 4 videos that we'll put up tonight.
All right, well, we're going to go out there and get everything sorted for the next round, but we will be back momentarily for the final round of Modern Mondays.